As they say, a mistake is only a mistake if you make it twice.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah, so you can have that one. That's for you.
I'll check the first question.
Shall I?
You've created all your success from out-of-the-box thinking. What made you step to the right when most people step to the left? I think my answer to that really is, if you're not going to step to the right when everyone's to the left, you're never going to make it. If you do the same as your competition, why would anyone start using you and discontinue from what they're doing? The important thing of creating something new is being, either first to the market, being the cheapest, or being the best is the way you become successful. And I very rarely do competitor research. I worry about what I'm doing. I focus on my vision. That's really helped me get to here.
I agree with that. I went my own route because I was in a job and I looked at my boss and his boss, and I thought that's kind of the progression for me. And I want more than that. Yeah. So I thought I've got to do something else.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing with me. I just like being uncomfortable in situations, and I think that's where you're going to really thrive. So stepping to the other direction as everybody else was like, okay, now what are you going to do? And I like that kind of challenge of it.
Right. Is it important to start a company in an industry you enjoy or believe in? If so, why? Early doors, the first few months, the first year or so, before you start making money, those are the toughest times. Those are periods where you're not motivated by remuneration because you're not getting any sleep, you're getting a lot of people in your ear saying, that's not a good idea. And I think if you're not doing something you believe in, you're not doing something you enjoy or you're passionate about, that won't drive you forward. So I think it's really important, actually. That will get you often through that tough period.
And the thing I really hate is when you get a young person like a startup come up to you and go, oh, I want to start a company, I don't know what to start it about, but I want to make lots of money.
Yeah.
And that's really, I hate it because I'm like, you're doing it for completely the wrong reason. The second it doesn't make any money, you'll stop it and then it just won't work.
In this country, 50% of all startups fail in the first year. That's half. And then there's almost the same statistic for the next year. They just went into it for the wrong reasons. When you go into it, say a less good business, but you enjoy it more, you can make a lot more money and you can feel better within yourself.
If you're doing something you don't actually believe in, people are very perceptive. They'll pick up on that and it will fall on its face purely and simply because people will smell the fact you're just doing it for the money.
Right, so what are some common mistakes that you see from aspiring entrepreneurs and how can people avoid them? Sometimes I think people give up a little bit too easily. So you face those first challenges and you think, that's it, that's the end of my business and it's done. Really persevere with it and try and push through because no business is just successful straight off the bat.
A lot of people are overly confident and believe their product's gonna change the world, when reality is it might not. But the people who often have the best products are the ones who aren't as confident in themselves, and I think that's a big issue people find when trying to start a company.
People get a bit delusional when they start a business, and what happens is when they don't make £1 billion, they make a small loss, they give up. And it's the ability to cope with the pressure and the stress and realise that it is a long slog. That realisation, I think, is why most people quit.
Having your sole income coming from somewhere that you don't know where the next pound's coming from can often kind of cloud your decisions. So I think sometimes if you actually have another income alongside it, it can often clear your mind a little bit and take the stress out of it and not pressure you into making kind of rushed decisions and actually focus on the business long term.
Right. What is the main driver for your success? Is there something beyond revenue and growth? I think for me, it's empowering people. I'm a big believer in trying to get the right people around you, and without that, I wouldn't have had the success I've had, because I think you can go so far and I can create that vision, and I think entrepreneurs are brilliant salespeople and keeping the tone, but then it's having those who are there who really back you and believe in you, and they're often quite hard to find those people, but when you found them, keeping them on board.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot more to business than money. You want a good reputation, you want to create a brand, you want to do something that you look back on and that you can feel proud of, whether that's your people, your product, whatever it might be. I actually haven't thought about money in a long time, and I think that's got a lot to be said for where we are. All right, was there ever a point during your entrepreneurial journey where you felt like giving up? Every day. In the first couple of years, I remember when I started my first business and there was like the all-nighters. I slept in the office. I was eating the wrong foods. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't seeing my friends. I wasn't seeing my family. I was doing all the stuff we say not to do just to make my business make it. And there was a couple of times, seriously, I thought about giving up. There was a couple of times I cried. It was tough. I had a profile at the time from a TV show, so it was going to be publicly failing, and that was playing on my mind a lot as well. So I think we all think about giving up at times when it gets tough, but the important thing is not to.
Sometimes you go down the wrong path. In a business, you'll take it in a direction where maybe it shouldn't be going. And those are the times when we want to give up, because you've got to work so hard to get it back to that place that you're starting, and then start heading off in the right direction. Whether that's me buying the wrong property or a deal that just didn't go through, and that's the times where I'm just like, this is going to be so much work to get back there. But it's just, you can't be afraid of that work. You can't be afraid of that challenge. But yeah, for me, going down the wrong path can sometimes make me want to give up.
Remember this time, basically we lost one of our largest clients. It was going to make probably about 10 of our staff made redundant. So I was like panicking, I was like crying, picked my advisors, and one of them, she said to me, in a year's time, her way of saying it, you'd be like a chapter in a book. She said, go away for a weekend, just get away. I actually came back the next week so motivated to want to prove to that client that I can make this company continue to grow. And I think without that, I wouldn't have grown it the speed I did, and sometimes you have to have that hit to go forward.
Yeah. I'd say out of it being an entrepreneur, out of 10 days, 9 are bad. But that one good one is really worth holding on to, because it's bloody good when it's good. Where you see something you've been working on for months just take off, you're like, that was an idea in my head that's now out there in the market. That's so cool, and it's worth it for that one good day.
Do you sometimes find it difficult to manage your time? There we go. If so, how are you looking to improve? I really struggle to manage my time, especially on top of the day job. Sometimes it means not sleeping. As you were saying earlier, the highs are worth it, and it's what I want to do with myself, and I wouldn't have any other way. So, time management, if you want any advice on that, don't come to me. Absolutely not.
There's no real answer to time management. There is sometimes just not enough hours in the day. If you find the right people and you can manage them and use their skills in a certain way, you can make yourself really, really efficient. You can make it so much better, so much more streamlined. I think that's probably the best way of doing it.
I write down a list every day of the most important to the least important, and then I say, what's going to make the biggest impact to my business and the least. And since doing that, it feels like I get it out of here onto there, and it's really helped. But I think everyone has, is struggling to find that balance, and you've just got to figure out what's going to help me the most today and crack on.
I think it's also important to allocate some time just for yourself to step away from everything as well. If you don't do that, it doesn't matter how strong you are mentally, you're going to break down. It might feel like you're taking time out at that moment in time, but actually it's going to benefit your business.
What are the main problems facing the younger generation in business? We live in this world where social media clouds what reality is actually like. If we were to start a company as per social media perceives it to be, we'd expect to be millionaires day 2. That's a big issue young people face, because then when they're starting a company and reality starts to happen and they don't get what they think they should be getting, that then causes issues for motivation and wanting to carry on.
I don't want to just beat on them as well. I think there's so much potential there because we're living at a time where you can create businesses out of absolutely nothing, but they just feel that there's no work involved, so they don't have a work ethic. And if they just tweak that, the potential is fantastic.
Right. Was there ever a big mistake you made which you learnt from? And should people be afraid of failing? Well, I think failure is the most important ingredient to success. I've learnt more from my failures than all my success put together. You take failure on, you embrace it, you learn from it, and you move on, and your ability to move from one failure to the next quicker and with more strength determines how successful and how far you're going to go.
I think that's important because people need to understand, and they need a reality check. You're going to fail.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anybody sitting around here that has not failed. If you just accept that at the beginning and realize that it's going to happen, that's it.
Fundamentally, the important thing is how you package your feelings towards that failure as well. If you package it into a kind of a motivation and a learning curve and a positive experience, then you're off. But if you let that drag you down, you're not going to see success down the line. So yeah, I think it's vital how you package your response to it.
On social media, the people who are portraying themselves as being successful, they're not posting those failures.
Yeah.
They're not posting the lost deals. I think there's a responsibility of people to show that, to say, listen, look, I tried this, it didn't work out.
And take responsibility for your actions. People fail, try to blame other people, don't learn anything from the experience, and then fail again. And that has made the first failure a complete waste of time. And it's just looking at yourself and going, I messed that up. What can I do to avoid that happening again? And get on with it.
As they say, a mistake is only a mistake if you make it twice.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah, so you can have that one. That's for you.
So what's the next step for you, and where do you go from here? So what I'm up to now, we're launching a preventative physical and mental health app and doing more talks and trying to inspire more young people to hopefully either start a company or just get them on the right tracks in their career.
I'd like to get involved, I think, in a younger generation who could maybe get me involved in their businesses. So I've never done that where I've got involved or maybe invested in something. I'm really excited about something completely brand new and that's outside of anything that I've done before.
Next up for me then, on the fitness business side of things, we're actually going into the rehabilitation of offenders. So we're going to prisons, we're re-qualifying offenders and getting them back into the community, back into a career. It's also something that I really, really believe in. I think they deserve a second chance, and we've seen some amazing results. So that's actually really personally very, very rewarding. We've also got some other projects going on, more fingers and more pies. I'm not stopping.
But for me, what's next is, I've never been sitting here today more optimistic about my future. It's never been an easier time to be an entrepreneur or be more successful with interest rates where they are, with social media how it is, and the economy. It's that hunger to keep going, to give back, to be successful, and determination to be the best at whatever we're doing. And if you've got that going on, it's a pretty exciting place.
Couldn't agree more.
Hey, it's awesome meeting you guys. It's really good to see people pushing the boundaries and being successful.
Yeah, thanks a lot for your insights as well.
I've actually learned something today. For the first time in a long time, I actually learned something. So yeah, thank you very much.
And the future is definitely bright.